It's time for Cup of Rad, so let's fill your cup with rad pop culture vibes. And now your over-caffeinated hosts, Mike and Katie. Welcome to another exciting, spine-tingling adventure into the mindset of Cup of Rad. Mwahaha.
Sounds like some horror show. Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's this week it's What the Hellboy? That's what we're diving into. We're going to be diving into all things Hellboy. Mainly, we're going to be coming at you with the new movie.
Yes, we went and saw that this weekend here.
So we sat down with our microphone, grabbed our cups of rad, filled it up with some lovely coffee from Spent Grounds. Not an ad, just fans. I gotta be clear on that.
No, we got to be clear. And but yeah, it's amazing coffee. So I wish everyone could experience their radness.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're doing while we do this. Because after a movie like Hellboy, you got to warm yourself up. We did have a shout out from Spit Roast Podcast.
Yes.
They said all their listeners to head over our way. So thank you for that. So if you're listening from them, hopefully you stick around and you enjoy ours and give us a like or whatever, say hi.
Definitely.
Right?
Different feel, different vibe. You never know.
Exactly.
All new fun things.
So we're going into this. It's Hellboy. It's the 2019 reboot. We're going all over the place. I don't think we got a format for this one.
No, we're just gonna talk all things Hellboy.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's all kind of generating from review of the movie. And we watched the original Del Toro movies with our son. We watched the animated movies of it. You're a longtime comic fan, so we just got all sorts of media.
Yeah, it's
pull from
Hellboy in your face, Big Red in your face. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
We went there.
We did.
So Hellboy was created by Mike Mignola way back in 1993.
It's another 93.
Yeah.
It's a magical year.
90?
It's like magic artistic
explosion.
Yes.
So,
anyways, okay, 93. Hellboy.
He started out just as a bit thing in a few other comics, and then finally got his actual first miniseries in 94. So the whole idea about Hellboy is that he is from hell. He is the son of a woman and a demon.
Azazel, right?
Azazel, yeah. Brought to Earth. And technically, as the series progressed, as you got more knowledge about Hellboy, you find out that the right hand of doom was actually put on Hellboy. He wasn't born with it.
Oh, okay. It's a tool that was not part of his
Exactly. Being. It was actually used by a wiser elder god, basically, to help create the Earth, and also created the demon. I can't remember the name of it because it's a weird name. The dragon spirits that are supposed to be coming, like the old gods,
Cthulhu type gods.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then he realized he imprisons them, and then basically they cut off his hand and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So then Azazel then puts the hand on his babies.
Oh.
Rasputin decides to bring him from the pits of hell in the last-ditch attempt of the Nazis trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And Trevor Brennholm finds him, and here we are. Greatest paranormal cult detective ever.
He's got a view from both sides of the world, right? So that makes sense.
So going into the reboot, first when I seen all the trailers and all that, I was a little leery because I wasn't a big fan of the music.
That was the first biggest turnoff for it, for sure.
Now, I'm always really open to seeing new interpretations of something. You look at something like Batman and you've seen how many actors have played the character, each bringing something different in the character. People will like some, people won't like others. So I wasn't really worried about Harbour bringing Hellboy to the screen.
Yeah.
At first, we were also told we were going to get a better horror-based movie. Especially with Neil Marshall, director of The Descent.
Well, and the comics themselves are much darker. I've not read them myself, but you always tell me about them, and that seemed like it would fit it a lot more. Is more of a horror genre for sure.
Exactly. So, did we get that movie?
I don't know what exactly we want to say that we got.
Right?
And that's part of the problem.
So fanboy Mike sitting there watching it, I got a smirk because there is so much in the movie that is very comic based. It takes from the story of The Wild Hunt, which is like the 9th volume in the series when you break it down into trades.
Oh, okay.
So it's a deep
There's
section of the story.
a lot of character build up before then. Okay.
And there's so many elements that are like bang on, like the headdress from the dude and all that when they go on the Wild Hunt, when they go after the giants and all that. So perfect. Harbour, I really liked.
I did too.
You know,
I myself, like, watching more recently the Del Toro ones, I enjoy those films, but I honestly never really felt like I liked the Hellboy. I think Ron Perlman did a really good job for what he was given, but the way that the character was written was very harsh and very, very whiny and very edgy, very too confident. And I always expected he needed confidence, but at the same time,
some
not
humility.
so. Yeah, some humility. And he was just, for lack of better words, he was mean. He wasn't really, he didn't come across as the big softy that they wanted to say that he was.
Yeah.
Except for when he was with his cats. It's like that's what it was needed for, was the cats to show him a softness.
Yeah.
And so watching this movie today, I really felt like I liked him. He was much softer. He was more caring. He showed him a lot more love for people in general. And I really enjoyed that, rather than his two people that everyone else he hated. But in this, he was much more open to other people. And as long, he would razz them and everything like that. But I enjoyed his character, his version, the way it was written in this movie a lot more.
Yeah, he definitely came across as a better human being.
Yes.
Where I'll start off right at the bat. Perlman and Del Toro's version is iconic, is classic. It's like Keaton and Burton's Batman.
Agreed. Exactly.
It was the first. It was your first one night stand with the devil. And you're just like, damn, that's some good shit.
But yeah, you're never going to top that, because nothing can actually replace it.
Yeah, especially from that era and where we're from. And I love those. And that, honestly, I didn't know too much about Hellboy before I saw those first trailers.
That is true.
And when I saw those trailers, I was like, for Perlman's Del Toro's version, I was like, holy crap, what is this? It's creepy, it's weird, it's got humor, I need to find this. And that's when I started buying the trades.
Yeah, so it did a great job of introducing you to the character and making you interested in wanting to learn more about it.
And once I saw that movie, I was like, holy crap, oh my god, I need to know more, and I need to keep reading. And I just kept reading, and I kept
it's one of those ones where you have almost the whole world in graphic novel form. I mean, that's one of the things you have, not just the Hellboy, but all the spin-offs, the BPRD, the Ape Sapien, everything, right?
Witchfinder, Lobster Johnson, all those things.
Yeah.
And I keep buying them. They're one of the books that I do continuously buy, because I have scaled back a lot of books.
Yeah, and Hellboy is definitely one of those ones where you're like, no, I need the whole universe.
Yeah, because I can relate to that character in some ways.
Yeah,
I find that he is that ugly beast that looks like he'll just beat you up, but he's kind and he always does the good thing.
He loves pancakes and kitties.
Yeah, pancakes and kitties, like.
Oh my gosh! Another moment there. Mike is actually Hellboy. Sweet.
I cut off my hand tonight. Right? The evil got into my hand. And now I have a chainsaw. Nope, wait, wrong movie.
Wrong movie. Oh,
Rock hand.
It's all about the right hand of doom right there. That's fantastic. Okay.
So then I look at those, but then when I read the comics more, I started realizing how the Del Toro version was the glossy Hollywood, trying to make it the gateway drug to find the books.
Yes.
Right? And especially when the Golden Army came out, I really flipped on that movie back and forth between good or bad, because it really went to the realm of fantasy.
Well, it was so fantasy. It was so much of Del Toro. His world is fantasy world.
Yes.
And he does a beautiful job in that world. I mean, we're both really good fans of Del Toro's movies, but it was very much that. It was not horror based. And if you had to think about it in a different way, for sure.
Exactly. So seeing that, it was kind of that finding that balance and all that, because I really like the fact that how much the ghouls and the goblins and the ghosts that he all deals with throughout the comics and the vampires and all that kind of thing. So it's a great gateway, and they're beautiful because they were practical and there wasn't as much sloppy CG.
It was a very smooth movie. It was very clean.
Yeah. Now going into the reboot, you can tell their budget was really slashed. And if you watched any other episodes, you know that when it comes to sloppy CG, it really bugs me. Rage. This isn't going to be Cup of Rage, because in the whole, I did enjoy the Hellboy reboot.
Yeah, for the most part, it wasn't, when we were done, it wasn't what the...
Yeah. But that being said, I won't sugarcoat the fact that it still is kind of a bad movie.
You know what? I think as a fanboy, you enjoy how they treated the character and brought other elements of the comics into it that weren't there before. But as just a film review, on a film version, if you don't think about fanboy, the movie's kind of crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not clean. It's sloppy.
It's choppy.
Yeah.
The music choices are all over the place. There's
and it's too intense. It didn't even really help move the story along.
No.
And I am all for music moving and helping with the story, and not when it's like what, and I'm focusing on the music more than anything. That's overwhelming. Then.
Yeah, exactly. Now that being said, too, I'm gonna go back and say I had a good time. I had a smirk. I was amused.
There was a number of times where you just laughed with like, this is ridiculous and insane.
Yeah. The whole opening of the film really sets up the tone because it looks like Van Helsing almost.
Yes.
The cheesy black and white.
It was super dark and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. And then Ian McShane with his caramel voice comes and he starts wooing you and you get hard. and then he drops the F-bomb and you're like, nope, that's where we're going with this movie.
That's where the movie is. Okay.
Yeah. And then the harder edge music hits and then the Hellboy logo and then yeah.
Well, even just the slang, and what was it? And not that she was angry or something. She was pissed off or something. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, you can tell right now that he's like telling a bedtime story. Yeah. And it was cool, but at the same time, it was it definitely set the whole vibe, and it took the awesome epicness out of it and just dropped it down to a whole nother level.
Yeah. Going right into it though, then we got Hellboy in Mexico, which is a bit of a thing because he goes to Mexico a lot in the comics. He's had multiple battles over there, but he also was a luchador for a while. So
it's fantastic.
So getting to see Hellboy walk into a wrestling ring and battle a vampire.
That vampire looked pretty awesome though.
I was kind of had that moment where I was like, oh shit, this is gonna get good.
Where it's going, yeah.
I was like, hey, maybe that original was like a little bit of a slip, and I was like, yes. And it kind of followed that path for a while.
Yeah.
But then the moment he got into the vehicle, then the weird music choices hit, and like I'm torn.
It wanted to please you more, and it just couldn't get there.
Yeah. Like it was a big tease almost. Like it just cupped me just right.
Just right, and it just couldn't bring you all the way.
Yeah.
We did that. The other problem that I didn't like, and this is a pet peeve for me for any movie and people in general, I swear, I'm not afraid of curse words in the least.
If you listen to the Cut podcast, you know that's true.
I used to swear a lot more, and I did bring that back. But when it comes to movies and everything, I do not like when they place curse words in there for no reason other than it seems like they want to just say, well, we have an R rating, so let's just go for it. Mm-hmm. Curse words have their point and their emphasis. When I get angry, I swear a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for it. Because I'm pissed off and I want to emphasize that I'm angry. But I don't just randomly drop the F-bomb just for no reason whatsoever. And they used so much language in this and completely unwarranted spots, and it drives
over and over again.
Yeah. When it comes to writing a movie that doesn't come across as intelligent story writing and conversation. I would much rather have a better use of words in it than just repeated swear words, because I don't see the point of it. And so that really bothered me. Anytime that ever happens in a movie, that bothers me.
Yeah. And it really came from the pig man.
Yes, he was obnoxious.
He just kept every single second word was effing this and
I love how we're actually not saying the words. Like, we've swore so much in our past ones and this we're like staying away from it. It's odd because even for me, I'm like, I don't want to break that seal. I don't want to.
We'll break the seal.
We'll break it. When I was there a bitch don't touch this? No, there was.
I don't know. Was there?
I don't think there
did you
really
have a bitch don't touch this moment?
I don't think so, actually. Because there was a weird amount of satisfaction when he actually did pull Excalibur out. Because I knew it had come to that.
Yeah.
And I figured if they're saying over and over again that it was the only way to kill the Blood Queen, at some point he had to face that demon of being able to kill her. Because like, I'm watching this, I'm like, you can't find some other way to get rid of her without demeaning her seriousness as a bad guy. So he had to face the challenge of, if I pick the sword up, I can still use it for good rather than just falling down and becoming the king of hell.
Hey, let's talk about that for a moment, though. That moment where Alice decides to say, let's make sure she doesn't come back for the sequel.
Yes.
There's my what the fuck moment.
Oh, he broke it. Okay, why?
What was the point of that line? Like, that was the fourth wall, like, wink. Like, we hope we have a sequel.
Yeah.
But the Blood Queen won't be back. Wink. Wink.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? That really bugged me. That line really bugged me.
Yeah. I just didn't like the Pigman.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, really did not like
No,
him.
but see, he's in it. I love that he was actually in it.
But that's cool,
the
though.
Pigman, like the Pigman
is a part of the story.
Yeah, and he's part of the Blood Queen.
You know,
and he's
Baba
all that.
Yaga scared the bejesus out of me.
She was beautiful.
She was amazing,
Yeah.
and she was creepy.
I love seeing that. Like, see,
Oh God, that gave me the heebie-jeebies, and that was horror. You know what? Honestly, I had that moment of like, this looks like Pan's Labyrinth feel.
Yeah,
that looked like
exactly.
Del Toro.
Yeah.
And his creepy ass things that he does.
Yep.
Because like Pan's Labyrinth creatures scare the.
Well, it makes you wonder too, though. Is it what if the studio had said, "Fine, Del Toro, make your third movie, make it R, do what you want."
What if he had been able to make it like Labyrinth, right?
Yeah, like can you imagine what could have came out of that? But the reason why we're getting a reboot is that it's 11 years since the last Hellboy.
Yeah.
And
no one wanted. Del Toro won't come back. Perlman wouldn't come back without him.
There's all those road bumps.
Oh, you know what was
those.
really good, which I know you talked about too, was the fact that Hellboy was not hidden in the shadows, and the driving force of the story was not him trying to be out in the limelight.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, this is what I do, and we're not worrying about keeping it under wraps any more than a secret government operation would be. It wasn't anything extra and over the top. I mean, that's, you know, when you look at that and you look back at the Del Toro ones, how much that was his driving force of the movie was that. And I enjoyed that it was not part of that. And there was no romance. There was no pining for someone.
Yeah.
It was... I don't like romance in movies that are not actual romance movies. I really don't. So I like when there's not romance in something, I'm like, yes.
You notice it. Well, see, it was nice. It was a bit more of a different feel. It was straightforward. Now, going with that, the Wild Hunt and everything that happens in it, and all the lineage that they talk about of Hellboy actually being related to King Arthur, that's actually in the comics. My thing is that a lot of people won't know that because it's so deep within the mythology. You would have to like stuck on forever, right? That you're not going to know that as much as a casual viewer that's going to come in. And I've seen a lot of the reviews and stuff that have eye rolled at that.
Well, because quite honestly, I asked you afterwards, I was like, is that part of it that's real? Because the idea of them just wanting him to be a descendant of Arthur seems convenient for the story.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be the first time that people want to claim that they're descendants of Arthur. It's a very easy to believe that it just found its way there. And if it felt forced because it didn't feel like it came naturally throughout things because you didn't have any build up with anything.
Now, I definitely feel that this film could have been the second or third in a series of films. And then if we'd had those little tidbits and those little Easter eggs and those little nods building up, then you would have had, it would have been more of a payoff.
Well, where he'd been learning about his history and his past and how he came to be and everything.
Exactly.
He learned a whole lot about himself in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
That's a lot to reconcile.
They crammed a lot into.
And then he loses his dad all at the same time. It's like all of that happened.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure that his dad didn't die in the first graphic novel.
Actually,
or am I going to be wrong?
Yeah, I think he did.
Okay, but he didn't die with the hunt when he found all this
because he was gone before the hunt happened.
So they just put all that together, right? That's a lot to deal with.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like they definitely should have looked at trying to build the world more.
Yeah.
Right. And then another thing that I've seen too is people are really unsure about the Lobster Johnson character. And that's a wink and nod to Mignola's Lobster Johnson character from his comics. He has his own series. He was a Nazi hunter back in the day, right? And without knowing that, it comes across really carny because he comes across like an old action hero.
Yes.
Right? So for me, I was just sitting there going,
with the
yes, Lobster!
Well, yeah, I know how much you like that character.
Yeah, and it's just like, you see that and you're getting, it's just like, so as a fan of the comics, I'm super excited because we're seeing these things that we never saw before, and we're seeing that you know, even Rasputin, I said mutant.
Yeah, mutant.
But his outfit looked like it was ripped from the pages of the comics.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? Like the dragon and all that on there. It was perfect. It was perfect for it. And it was...
You look like such a struggling fanboy right now. You're like, I want to love it so much more. And there was so much good.
There was so much good. They did so much good. But from all what I've read and seen, it's like the powers that be Mr. Producers came in and went, ha ha ha, I'm the big fat man with the cigar, and we're gonna choppity chop chop, and we're going to pokety poke.
So yeah, I want to see the director's cut of how he intended to see this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Neil Marshall had a different version of the film in mind.
Yeah, was it darker? Because with the choppiness, then you got to wonder, was there parts of it that were missing that it's going to be like that made me feel more for that character.
Yeah.
You know? And did they want some comic relief for certain things or whatnot, right?
Yeah. So if you're a fan of the character, it's definitely something. I don't think people that are fans of the Del Toro stuff will enjoy it as much. I think people that have the Del Toro bug.
Yeah. If that's your Hellboy and that's your only thing.
Yeah. And you don't read the comics, then that's your jam.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna like it as much because it's not as good of a film itself.
Yeah. You know, looking into it, like, I really liked Harbor. I really hope that they can figure out something to do.
Me too, because I enjoyed it.
Because I really would like to see him come back. I hope maybe they can follow, because they lead into so many seeds at the end of the film.
Well, yeah, with Abe and whatever was happening with Baba Yaga too. The end credit with that, and there's definitely more to go on with
again as the ghost, because he comes back and helps in Hellboy's history as well as a ghost. So like, there's so many little things. Now, the one thing that I wish they had done, I wish they had changed the mid-credit scene to the end of the movie, and then the scene that was at the end of the movie where they were going in.
Oh, when they found Abe.
Yeah. I wish they had put that as the mid-credit scene.
Yes.
I think that would have fit better, because you've got this mid-credit scene that they did show, and the lobster's all like, stop being a bitch, and
get off your ass stuff and get back to the fight, right?
Yeah. And then you go into start the credits, and then boom, and you show that. But that scene, as much as it was so cool, it was so corny.
Oh, yes.
It looked like it looked like a reject from like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like the underworld, Resident Evil, everything's flipping around.
It's kind of like a video game or something, and the music was just, I mean, I'm not an 80s rock fan anyway, but it was just over the top, and if it had been a better scene, I could have forgiven the music more.
No, the music choice was terrible.
Horrible. I'm trying to be positive.
There's dubstep in this movie.
I really don't like 80s metal rock like that.
Yeah, see, that's why it's all over the place,
and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, like, at all. Yeah, anyways.
Nah, I think the music's what really bothered me, because like, it should be dark and moody and foreboding, but
it should be creepy.
It shouldn't necessarily just be like, metal, demon, blah, 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 right? Like, and I think that's one of the things where that's the thing that is cool about Hellboy as a comic character, is that everything in his world is it's creepy, it's dark, it's dirty, it's gross, and it's like, hey, you know, he's this bright, colorful splash in a dank world,
and he looks like he should be terrifying.
Yeah, but he's soft. He's a softie, and it's like they see the word hell, and producers are just like, you know, well, it's a number of the beast, and it's all this stuff, and so
they look at all the evil of it, instead of looking what it should be representing.
Exactly, and that's really where I think the movie failed on that aspect, is it plays way too much into the sensibilities of those that are scared of it.
Yes, because then it makes it all edgy and it makes it all intense, rather than look at the positive that can come out of someone who recognizes that there is evil or something inside them, but they can make a choice. It takes the choice out of it, and it ruins.
Yeah, exactly.
It ruins looking at that aspect.
Exactly, and that's one thing that I really think is interesting.
Yeah.
On the other note, we did watch the animated stuff, The Sword of Storms, written and co-directed by Tad Stones. He did a lot for Disney, and those films are great. Now that's something too. If the new stuff isn't really digging your jive, definitely look for it. It's on Blu-ray. It's even on 4K.
There's two animated movies.
Blood and Iron and Sword of Storms. It's got Del Toro's cast in it: Doug Jones, Selma Blair, and Ron Perlman.
Yes.
And that there is almost more of a definitive feeling of Hellboy than either of the live action
versions. Because honestly, in the Hellboy in the animated was not as intense. He was much more caring, and I really enjoyed that character more than in the live action one. And his voice sounded amazing for it. Perlman still just sounded great.
Yeah, and you watch those and it has a richness to it.
Well, and Abe too, he was much more of an agent. He was much more foreboding, and he could hold his own. He didn't come across as a weak.
Yes.
And I know it's easy for the people in a lot of the media, the people who have, say, the research and the quote-unquote brains of an operation are tended to be looked as if they can't hold their own.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I know you struggle with say, with Donatello from the Turtles, is always looking as if he can't be strong enough. And when he is shown as strong and confident, just like anyone else, it's really a bonus. And I think that's one of the problems with Abe in the live action Del Toro, is he was very much kind of had a standard.
And he's not that way in the comics.
He had no defensive. Yeah. And in the animated, he was sitting right there and shooting along with Liz.
Yeah.
You know, he had no problem standing his own. And I think that was cool to see. So.
Right, exactly. So Hellboy is a very important thing to me. Aside kind of like personal note, our son has a name that's taken right from the books.
Yes.
So if you know us personally, you'll know what his name is.
And it was totally named after that character.
Yeah, nobody else. That's who his name for.
And he's very proud of that, actually.
He's growing to it for sure. You know,
but
at first he was like, "What?" So, and no, he's not named Hellboy.
Oh, it totally should be.
Should have been.
You should have left that alone, and then people would have been like, "Did they name their son Hellboy?" That would.
Well, it might not be HB. It might be, you know, Hellboy has how many other names?
Oh,
So, yeah, Big Red. That's what we call him.
Yeah, we called him Big Red. That would have been awesome.
Right. But, you know, honestly, with the new Hellboy reboot, I would be looking forward to another one. Hopefully they can write the course. But one thing I am hoping to see is, will Hot Toys make a Hellboy?
Yes.
They didn't make one way back when, but I wasn't collecting Hot Toys at that point. It was for...
So now it's like, come on, figure your stuff out.
Yeah.
I need to buy this now.
Yeah, so they tease that they got the license. I want to see what they're going to bring out. Now, Mizco already has their pre-orders up for the David Harbour one. It does look cool. I've seen a lot of the pictures. It's pretty awesome. So if Hot Toys isn't going that way, probably will go for the 112 Mizco, because it did look pretty awesome.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, you do have a really cool action figure. You do have the Pops.
Yeah, and it's on our Instagram. I've been posting a lot about Hellboy, and
yes.
It's the old Mizco comic one. I love that one.
Yeah.
I wish I could have gotten a lot more. I got Ape Sapien and all those, because that was such a great style, because I love Mignola's art.
Yes.
The dark shadowing and the angularness, it just works so beautifully for the character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got our Pops.
Well, then that way you could have representations for all the different types of things, right?
Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome.
Exactly, because we do have our one Pop. It was signed by Ron Perlman.
Yes.
Because we had met him. It's in our, back in our episode.
The Fan Expo
one, which is near the beginning, like
November
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, we had met Ron Perlman at the Fan Expo and got him to sign that, which is pretty awesome. So
yeah, so it's a tough one. You know
what? I'm glad we saw it, and I would be willing to watch it again, because it was a fun ride, and there was a lot of interesting things going on for it. But it had those bits of failing of, it could have been a better movie for sure. So
I think
I'm kind of in an in-between gray area there.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those where I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again. I'll have fun with it. I think we're all allowed guilty pleasures.
That's a perfect definition of this movie.
You know, there was a certain comic book movie last year that everyone raved about and loved, and I didn't like at all.
I think it's a horrible piece of crap.
You know, and for this, it could be the same way. People will look at it and be like, no, it's total trash. But I'm like, yeah,
but you love this character, but it's my character, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and any time I get media on it, I'm on it. You know, it's that feeling. So
I'm curious now. It would be a retrospect when we do get to watch it again, and we've had all this time. I'm curious to see how it kind of settles with you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You know, I'm in that thing where it has great comic moments, but it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
But I can still appreciate and enjoy it for its pulp fiction corn.
That works.
You know, it's one of those late night ones that we're going to watch. So, and there you have it. What the Hellboy? Was it worth it? It's really going to be your choice. You know,
I think it's worth it still trying to give it a chance and just see what you think of it. You never know what'll speak to you. And I mean, obviously we just told you most of the story, but still tell your friends, tell people that, you know what, it's worth it. Yeah. Check out all our other episodes, because we got lots of fun content, and we're always going into some gutter. I was going to say some realm of fandom that we, we have all sorts of fandoms and gutters to go into. Speaking of fandoms, our buddy that's down under, in Cyan Dragon Ball on Instagram there, he has got me looking at Dragon Ball Z and all that, and I've been enjoying that and watching that. You turned on Dragon Ball though, because I'd watched bits of Dragon Ball Z, and you turned on Dragon Ball, and I was editing, and I stopped what I was doing, and I just started laughing, and it was awesome. Right? Like, super sucked into the world, and it was I was giggling. So I won't steal it from you. Keep enjoying it by yourself. But I am impressed. So
well, yeah, it's been fun so far on the ride. So thank you, Inside Dragon Ball, for pointing me in that direction to add another notch on my belt of
one new fandom right?
on there.
Well, my sister and her husband are huge Dragon Ball Z fans too, so she was really excited about that. So we got always other people that we can find as well to enjoy that fandom. So
right. So and another big shout out to all the Spit Roast listeners that decided to hop over and join us for this episode.
Yeah, check out some other episodes for us. I hope you stick around.
And to all our loyal listeners that have been there since day one, thank you for being here. But guess what? Our coffee is done.
It's done. It's gone.
So we're going to have to peace out because we don't got any more. So till next week when we're going to come at you hard and fast.
Countdown.
With 21 movies in our one episode.
Countdown to Endgame.
Dun dun dun.
Till next time, take care and have a great day. Thank you for listening. Love this episode of Cup of Rad? Please subscribe, rate us, and give us a review. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more rad content.